Nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter. They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly?
If I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party.
Vlad, Bloody.
The DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, pretty horrifying listening to these testimonies. What did you make of what you just heard?
Vlad looked like a retired assassin. He like in a witness protection program. Like he had to re-dye his eyebrows. Shut up, Mark. You ain't that cute. So what? We're not talking about me. We talking about Vladimir. Borders, we will fix. We will change your face. The thin hill. This will happen. We will fix it. And then we will go to America and learn from the blacks and talk to the black.
Be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She got an album in...
You don't believe her? White man to white man? White to white? Do you believe her now? Do you not believe her? All right, I'm sorry.
Years, and a lot of this stuff is just stuff she's heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying...
She wasn't them screech, though. She was in more than you, nigga. You ain't never dropped no albums. You did some mixtapes and shit and some videos and stuff. There ain't no Jaguar Wright album neither. But she sung on other classics. And he said she was fucking with Piano Man. Scott Scores, the Elton John looking ass nigga, but not. Like a thug Elton John.
There aren't serious things that Diddy may have done. But yeah, I can't co-sign anything Jaguar Wright is saying, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, obviously, since we last spoke,
I'm not saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright is saying, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, obviously, since we last spoke, there have now been these charges against Diddy, which are incredibly serious. You didn't think at the time we last spoke that he was likely to face these.
I'm not surprised because I feel that law enforcement in general...
I'm not surprised because I feel that law enforcement in general...
reactionary. I think that when you look at high-profile individuals, their arrests, indictments usually come after a documentary, a big TV show, or in Diddy's case, there was this huge lawsuit that Cassie filed that everyone got to see all the details and all the attention that came to it. So yeah, it wasn't a surprise that it actually happened because you've seen this happen over and over again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, all the attention that they got, and then now Diddy. So yeah, I mean, this is ultimately the world that we live in. But he'll have his day in court. And, his lawyer said that he's not going to take a plea deal because I think a plea deal at this point is probably going to be very heavy-handed, probably 20 years plus. So it makes sense for him to go to court. But we'll ultimately see what happens, because we haven't really seen, apart from some of the funny stuff of, there's 1 million bottles of lube that they found there. I'm sorry, 1,000 bottles of lube and so forth. We have yet to really see what the evidence is. And I think once we see the actual evidence, then people will actually formulate an opinion on what's happening right now.
Do you think...
You got to respect that. You got to respect that. Whitemus manimus. Until you see the evidence, we can't be exactly sure. I'm not trying to defend him. That's all I'm saying. It's nothing to defend. I think you just watch it play out because he will be tried by the people that he answers to ultimately. That same structure that keeps him in power and that enabled him to do the things that he did and the client that he kept and, perhaps even dealing with the government itself. I believe that he is being reprimanded by his handlers. But go ahead, Vlad, with your punk ass.
Do you think there's a lot of people in the rap world in particular who are pretty fearful right now of where this may all lead? Is it a bit like the Epstein scandal, do you think?
I don't really think so because, ultimately, everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening. If I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party. There's the actual party where the big celebrities go to, the Howard Sterns and the Leonardo DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home,
So they say.
2, 3 o'clock a.m. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain type of...
See, man, they tired at that point? I'm getting tired now. Whatever.
Types of people that are kind of in an inner circle.
No.
And
That's why they used to need to get rehydrated and the goddamn IV drip in you.
We'll see if those names ultimately come out or not. I think that when it comes to a situation like the feds, cooperating is a very big thing. And I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually, lessening the amount of time that he does, or possibly even walking away.
I mean, what had you heard about Diddy over the years? Obviously,
people argue, but I don't think Diddy has anything good enough to walk away. I think they got exactly what they want in Diddy, but
people knew he had parties. They knew he was a big rap star and so on. But the nature of this kind of thing. I mean, I'm asking because when I watched, for example, I met Diddy a couple of times. It was always perfectly charming to me. But I've met a lot of people who are charming and turned out to be monsters. The video that came out of showing him beating up his then girlfriend in a hotel corridor was so shocking.
Yeah, he did the goal.
That when I watched it, I remember thinking,
it was the amount of emphasis he put on the kick. Like he had both his arms out. It looked like he almost like a Jordan, like like on the sneakers. Like if he sold shoes made for that, that's what you would see on the side of it.
Guy is capable of anything. I mean, a man that would do that, who's that famous, who would do that to a woman in a hotel corridor, public hotel corridor, if he's prepared to be
what
that
are you doing
violent
what are you doing
in
at
public,
5? What are you doing at 5,
knowing there might be
nigga?
cameras around. He's prepared to do pretty much
He's
anything.
prepared to
Was my
do
conclusion.
pretty much.
I mean, what did you hear about him over the years?
Yeah, I mean, that tape was horrific. And after our interview that we did with Roger Bonds, who I helped to bring onto the show, I did my own interview with Roger Bonds. It was a very in-depth, I think, two-hour interview where he goes into actually witnessing a lot of women that were physically abused by Diddy. I mean, not only Cassie, of course, which you saw multiple times, but Kim Porter. He was on a trip where Kim Porter got her nose broken allegedly by Diddy and flew in a plastic surgeon to fix it. There was a personal chef that Diddy beat up. I actually heard voicemails of her describing it. This wasn't even something that she wanted to come publicly with. There was other women as well that I got details on. So I think that Diddy has a long history of violence towards women, but also of men, because there's also the Steve Stout incident. If you remember that whole situation, he was in a music video with Nas, Hate Me Now, and there was a scene where Diddy was on the cross like Jesus, and I guess he went to Steve.
Powerful. How the fuck he spoke longer than Jaguar Wright? This nigga don't have no Diddy stories. Don't cut his dick off, dog. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, wow, wow. Someone to count on in a world ever changing. Here I am, where you're standing. What you need is a lover, someone to take over. Oh baby, don't look any further. But Dale, bumper T-I-O. Oh baby, don't look any further.